Good evening, and welcome to our Candidates Forum. To honor America, let me invite you to stand as our colors are presented by the LaGrange Naval Junior ROTC. I ask you to join me in the pledge and remain standing for the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. That was Mr. Eli Rios from the Pochet Advanced Systems, the people who have done such a magnificent job on our sound for us tonight. And we want to thank them for doing that. They give back to the community in many different ways. Thank you, folks from Pochet. We appreciate it. Quickly want to say some thank yous and introduce a handful of people, and then we'll get on with the business at hand tonight, a very important business, that of hearing what our candidates have to say about what they wish to do. The first thing I want to do is explain why there are so many people on this stage. The truth is, we toyed with the idea of breaking this into 2 or even 3 different forums, but the problem was we didn't feel like that would be fair, and what we decided to do at the last was to just have the singular group together, give each one a chance to interview themselves, to hear the questions, and to answer them as they feel led to. So what we're going to do in just a moment is we're going to give them a chance to step up to a microphone near them and introduce themselves and tell you why they're running for school board. Now, while they're doing that, I want to remind you that there are some handsome gentlemen out in the foyer that are taking questions, and if you didn't get your chance to write a question, they're still out there taking them. And you have the time to scurry out there, write down a question, write your name on it, and we'll bring it down to Eric and to Erica, I'm sorry, and Lee, and we'll get them to ask those questions. I also want to say thank you to the people here at LaGrange High School, especially Ms. Shelley Buller, last year's Teacher of the Year, for all the good she's done for us in getting this particular event put together. Thank you, Shelley, and thank you, LaGrange High School. We appreciate it very much. Now, it's inevitable that at an event like this, something like this is going to happen, so let me get it out of the way, and we'll go on from here. Someone has left their cell phone at the question table. If you can identify that cell phone, it's yours. Okay? And it's not good enough just say what color it is. You're going to have to be a little more specific than that. But it is back there at the table where the two gentlemen in blue shirts were taking questions. And we'd like for you to please, if you're looking around and realize you don't have your phone, make this your opportunity to go and to pick it up. Okay, I'd like to introduce our CAE, the Calcasieu Association of Educators Board of Directors. Several of them have already been employed and working in the tables out front. Our president, Mark Hayes, is sitting here on the front row. Wave for folks, Mark. I don't know if our vice president, Vicki Johnston, oh, there she is. She's waving from the back of the room. Thank you, Vicki, for your help today. Has Linda Manuel made it yet? Has Linda gotten here yet? Linda was supposed to be here, and then Mr. Donald Fontento, who's also standing at the back door. Thank you, folks, for working this. I appreciate it. And before I forget it, I want to say a great big word of thank you to the lady who has produced this and has worked lots and lots of hours to make it come together. She just happens to be my wife, and I'm very proud of the work she's done, Ms. Monica Abshire. Monica? Okay, let me see, I'm trying real hard to read in the dark here. There are 4 districts who have people who were elected simply by filing for their seat. Now, I don't know if that means everyone else was scared of them or they had such a great reputation, but I want to congratulate 4 people who are here tonight who are already elected to the school board. One is our current president from District 4, Miss Annette Ballard. Miss Ballard, would you stand, please? Congratulations. Another is from District 11, Mr. Chad Guidry. Chad, are you here tonight? Well, give Chad a round of applause anyway. Is Chuck Hansen here tonight from District 12? There he is. Congratulations. Finally, from District 14, Wayne Williams. Mr. Williams, are you here this evening? Well, congratulations anyway. Let's give all 4 of them a round of applause. Thank you very much. Now, what we'd like to do right now is we'd like to give each candidate, beginning in District 1, a chance to step to the nearest microphone, introduce themselves, and maybe say a little bit of something about themselves and why they decided to run for school board. And we're going to begin with District 1, Mr. Aaron Natali.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Natali. I've lived and worked in District 1 my entire life. My father's a small business owner in the district. My mother is a retired school teacher with 30 years of experience in service with the CPSB. I went to Bell City High School, graduated from McNeese, as did my wife, Christy Cannon Natali. The last 15 years, I've been working in the financial planning industry. For the last 13 years, my wife has been either an elementary school teacher or an elementary school counselor. We have 3 boys, Gene, Joe, and Luke. Gene's a 6th grader, Joe's a 3rd grader, and Luke's in the 1st grade. Christy and I would both agree that the thing that we're probably most proud of in the entire world are our 3 boys. And so whenever people ask, why are you running? The easy and obvious answer would be because I have 3 children in the school system. But that's just one reason. There's several other reasons why I'm running. Another reason is ever since I was young, I've always felt that it's very important to be involved in the community and community service if possible. In the past, I've served on the Ward 2 Recreation Board. I've also been a past president of the Blue Settlement PTO. Currently, I'm on the Calcasieu Parish Livestock Advisory Committee, and I'm also chairman of the UBB Show Committee, which is a national organization. Yet another reason that I want to run is I want to make certain that our tax dollars are being spent wisely and efficiently. There's going to be a lot of revenue flow into the community with the economic expansion on the horizon. It's going to be a lot of positives for our community, but there's also going to be some unintended consequences. One of the things that I'm concerned about is that our best and brightest teachers might be siphoned off by other industries, basically paying these guys and girls more money. And if that happens, it could be detrimental to our schools and detrimental to our kids' education.
You have 10 seconds.
10 seconds. All right. The last reason I'm running is basically I just want to unite the board. Hopefully we could work collectively so that we can address all the issues that are here and some of the challenges on the horizon. If we speak with one voice, we can get a lot accomplished not only for our individual districts, but for all the children in all the school districts. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Mr. Brandon Perkins.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank y'all for being here, and I'm glad to see a good turnout here tonight. Of course, my name is Brandon Perkins. I'm 32 years old and been married to my lovely wife, Jamie Ardwin Perkins, for the last 10 years. We've got 2 lovely children. My daughter, Avy's in the 2nd grade at LaBue Elementary, and my 3-year-old likes to run my mother ragged. So, all my life I've grown up in a God-fearing Christian home, and everything's been expected of me to have high moral values, and it has to come into everything that we do. We can't just do it in church, we can't just do it in certain things, certain aspects. We have to have high moral values in all that we do. And for the last 30 years, my father has owned his own small business here in the local community, and he's always taught me what it is to work for what you've got and the value of $1. And about 4 to 5 years ago, my dad decided that it was time for him to retire and to do other things. So he put me in charge of the business, and so I've been running it for the last 4 to 5 years. In the last 4 to 5 years, we've had quite a challenge with the economy, and that has brought me to learning how to manage a budget, how to make sure that we stay on budget, and to make really hard decisions when it comes to that. 4 years ago is whenever I really decided to start running for the school board. It was because of the reoccurrence of deficits and issues with the budget that I thought that maybe as a business person I might be able to lend a hand. And it's not that my focus has changed, but here in the last couple of years there's been a few more things that's come to the head, to the forefront, and I'd like to address a few of things. With the new curriculum and the food protocols, I think that there's some things that can be either redrawn or re-looked at because our kids are at stake and their education is at stake. So
That's your time.
that's my time?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I didn't want to interrupt you going so well, so I just let it go. Sorry about that. But that is what you'll hear at the end of 2 minutes. District 2 has 2 candidates. The incumbent is Mr. Fred Hardy.
Good afternoon. Let me thank the CAE and Monica Abshire for organizing and putting this event on. and I'm glad the public is here to see what takes place and see the kind of candidates you have. Let me tell you a little about my history. I'm a Washington High School graduate, so is my wife, and so are my 3 children. And my 3 children who finished from Washington High School are also graduates of LSU. So I have a good purpose for telling you my story. Early in my career, I taught 3 years at Washington High School, the school from which I graduated. And then I moved to Suffolk, the initial integration, 1967. So I feel a little bit like a guinea pig. I was speaking to Mr. Woodard back there about that situation, and Suffolk was a very good high school. After I left Suffolk High School, I went to the school board central office as a supervisor. Then subsequently, I came here at LaGrange as an assistant principal. What I'm trying to tell you is that I've had a very varied career. I've done elementary work, I've done middle school work, and I've done high school work. So I'm very proud of that. And to make the whole story short, why am I seeking this board? Because I want this. I want a child to have a good home life as well as a good school life. Thank you.
Our second candidate from District 2 is Mr. Jules Menou.
I too would like to thank the CA and KPLC for being with us tonight. I am Jules Menou, candidate for District 2. I've been married to my wife Suzanne for 33 years, been a resident of Calcasieu Parish for nearly 30 years. I'm an instrument technician right now at Sasol for 18 years. Sasol is one of the companies that are participating in nearly $70 billion expansion in our parish. The expansion will draw thousands of families to our community. This increase in students will overwhelm our present system. Companies are locating here because of our quality of life, skilled workforce, and our abundant natural resources. This feedstock is very important, but it's not as important as our most precious natural resource, our children. We have one chance to educate these students. I will work closely with the other board members in future and past, and present and future issues concerning this. This skilled workforce is successful in part to a traditional education that they've received. That excellence is what industry is counting on. The future of the students of Calcasieu Parish should not be in the hands of Baton Rouge or Washington, but in the local board. Decisions on curriculum and content and standards should be made by the Calcasieu Parish School Board. We must empower our teachers to teach. Now is not the time to experiment with our children. I am the anti-Common Core candidate, and I invite my colleagues to join me.
We have 3 candidates vying for District 3. Unfortunately, only 2 of them could be here tonight. 1 sent a substitute. So we're going to let the 2 ladies go first, and then Chris Shearman will come and tell us what his father would have said had he been able to be here. Our first speaker will be Miss Glenda Gay.
Good evening to all present. I'm Glenda Gay, candidate 79 for School Board District 3. A little about Glenda. I was employed for 33 years with the Calcasieu Parish School Board as a speech-language pathologist. I'm a native of Shreveport, Louisiana, and I've been in Lake Charles since 1973. I've lived in District 3 for 41 years, the only district in the city that I've ever lived in. I've attended the same church in District 3 for 41 years since I've been here. I chose to run for school board because of the concern in my district with the failing schools. I believe that all students can achieve and will achieve. I'm married to Kenneth Gay. I have 2 children. My children attended school in District 3, and both of them are graduates of a District 3 school. Currently, one of them is in education in Houston ISD as a middle school teacher. My son, a 1995 graduate of Lake Charles Boston High School, is a PhD principal at Tyler High School in Tyler, Texas. I believe that it's time for the ratings and the grades that we're receiving in District 3 to stop. We've had questions about overcrowded schools, out of zones, and I don't feel that a parent should have to decide to send their children somewhere else when they're paying taxes in a particular district. It is my goal to rebuild the concept of the neighborhood school and to bring our students back to the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gay. I understand that our superintendent has walked in on us this evening. Mr. Brookhouse, are you here? Would you wave at us, please? There he is, back in the back corner. Welcome. Next from District 3, Miss Edina Mederias.
Good evening. Thank you so much for our wonderful sponsors, as well as our Calcasieu Association of Educators having us here today to be able to share with you who we are and a little bit about what we would like to do. My name is Edina Mederias. I moved from Fort Worth, Texas is my hometown. I graduated from McNeese State University with a degree in psych with a teaching minor in biology. A lot of my credentials is on my paperwork in the back, but I want you to know just a little bit about who I am. I have taught at Lake Charles High under Mr. Falgout and Mr. Ayuk back in the 80s, a long time ago. But when I came to Lake Charles, I was a registered nurse. And so instead of going into the teaching field, I stayed with nursing. So I've been a nurse, a registered nurse, for 41 years, and I've owned a business here in Lake Charles, Costume Gifts and Balloons, for the last 31 years. I remember when I first went into business, I was all excited about what was getting ready to go on in Lake Charles, and then all of a sudden the industry of oil started to go down the tube. And so, as I mentioned to a few people the other day, I remember when our logo or our slogan was "Sailors Make Good Neighbors," as well as I remember when the last person out of Lake Charles turned off the light. Well, we have come a long way since that time. Because like I said, I've been in business for 31 years, and back at that time, it was kind of like looking a little bit dim as far as the industry and as far as business was concerned, but now we've got a different projection to look forward to with the expansion of Sasol and LNG and all of these other areas as far as that's concerned. I've been volunteering in Lake Charles since the 1970s, at least 30-some years. I have been on the board for the Convention and Visitors Bureau for 14 years. I've been with Crime Stoppers. I've been with the Arts and Humanities. I've been in a lot of organizations in this particular town. So I didn't just start volunteering not long ago. I have 4 children. 3 of them went to Our Lady Queen of Heaven, St. Louis, and on to LSU in Northeast, and graduated in 2 with master's degrees. I also have 1 daughter that decided she didn't want to be anybody's little sister at St. Louis, so she took bar route instead, and she went to public school. So I've got the best of both worlds. I've lived on both sides of town, and I know what's available on the south side of town as well as I know what's available on the north side of town. I know that in the area where I live at this time, I know that there are areas in our school system that need improvement, and we also have an alternative program.
I hate to interrupt you, but you're about a minute over.
Okay, all right. Anyway, I'm number 80 on the ballot. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, as I told you earlier, has been told what to say when he gets up here this evening. We're going to give him a little bit of grace here because he will not participate in the question and answer. So let me introduce to you Mr. Chris Shearman.
Thank you all. Can't speak for my dad, but I will pass on him that his competition is on top of their game. Good evening, I'm Chris Shearman, Bill Sherman's son. He and my mother have long-standing travel plans that could not change. So here's my father's remarks. The heart of the Calcasieu Parish school system is our teachers. My pledge to you, the voters and to the teacher corps, is that I will do everything I can to strengthen their numbers and to increase their pay. I want teaching jobs in Calcasieu Parish to be the most highly sought after in the state, and not just for the money, for the stability. The wave of anticipated industry in our parish is fraught with pluses and minuses. The sales tax revenue will be a boon to our budget, as we have seen increasingly. With that new industry will come new students, thousands is predicted. And as a system, we have to be prepared to house, feed, and most importantly, educate them. Industry has already recruited 2 chemistry teachers from among our educators. I don't blame them for recruiting our teachers. I don't like it, but I would do the same thing were I looking for college-educated, industrious people. Teachers often get better with time, with seniority. Experience makes them more confident, more assured of their curriculums. When I taught at LSU, the students rated their professors. That's pretty scary because my dean thought those ratings were very important. My ratings increased annually because I got better and my students benefited. That's what confidence in a teaching job and in management does. It makes better teachers. I want stability in our system. To that end, I continue to research Common Core. To date, I've had 3 long interviews with teachers in our system. To a person, they are both skeptical and critical of Common Core. I've spent an inordinate amount of time trying to understand the rubric of Eureka Math as stipulated in Common Core. It undermines the repetition of learning math by rote, and as someone who has been mathematically challenged his whole life, that repetition has been the basis of my math applications. I'm a work in progress on Common Core, but as a system, it has to get better. I will oppose additional charter schools. I'm skeptical of out-of-zone transfers and their effectiveness. I'm proud to be a candidate for the school board. It is one of the highest callings of my life. Thank you for your considerations. Bill Shearman.
District 4 is Annette Ballard, who's been elected. District 5, Dale Benard.
Don't count Mr. Peck's time you're taking with me. Thank you for that. My name is Dale Benard, and I'm a candidate for school board from District 5 for re-election. Before I get started, I think we should give a round of applause for the beautiful young ladies that did the military drill up here on the platform. Right at home here at LaGrange. This is one of the schools in my district. My 3 children graduated from LaGrange. I'm a graduate of Iota High in Katy Parish, and I hold a bachelor's degree from Northwestern State University in business education. I did not go into teaching because the salaries were too high. I worked for 10 years at Citgo Refinery, and I retired in 2012 after 49 years as a State Farm agent. I'm a member of the Chamber of Commerce, Life Underwriters, Ducks Unlimited, the McNeese Quarterback Club. I am a Mason and a Shriner. I'm also on the board of directors of the Southwest District Livestock Show and Rodeo. And each year I buy an animal to help one of the children participating in the raising of animals. I also serve as a member of the Burton Calcasieu Advisory Council for the Calcasieu Parish Police Jury. The police jury has taken over Burton Calcasieu from McNeese, and they are now running. I have served on the board of directors of the Louisiana School Board Association, the Northwestern Alumni Association, as well as the Lake Charles High Noon Lions Club as president. I was married to the late Nellie Whip Benard of Rain, Louisiana. I have 3 children, 5 grandchildren, and 4 great-grandchildren. My children are Thyra Stovall. Excuse me, I have a bad cold. Thyra Stovall, who is a retired teacher here in Calcasieu. Pam Lipinski, who is a teacher in Baton Rouge, and Barton Bernard, who lives in Fort Worth, Texas. I enjoy deer and duck hunting, attending sporting events, and participating in activities at my church, Trinity Baptist Church. I have always held strong personal values concerning education. My sisters were educators, as well as my late wife and my 2 daughters, and my brother, oldest brother, was a principal. It is my desire and personal goal to continue serving on the school board for 1 more term in order to improve our schools and test scores, as well as upgrade the present facilities. My vision for our system is that every school in the parish should be a high-performing school.
Thank you, Mr. Benard. We're going to have to stop you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Our next candidate for District 5 is Mr. Ron Hayes.
Thank you, Lee. My name is Ron Hayes. I was born in Crowley, raised at Ebenezer, south of Crowley. Moved over here when my dad got a job in education here in Calcasieu Parish. He was a principal who opened S.J. Welch in Dalby Elementary School. My mother taught for 26 years at Dalby Elementary School. I'm a product of public education. I graduated right here from LaGrange Senior High School way back when in 1964. I went to work teaching at Sulphur High School. I did that for a few years. Then I got into the insurance game and did that for about 15 years. Then I went out to McNeese as their athletic fundraiser for about 5 years. Then I became a risk manager for the city of Sulphur. Then I became the risk manager for the Calcasieu Parish School Board, from which I retired after 14 years as risk manager for the school board. Now, at that time as risk manager, I saw an awful lot of challenges. I feel that my experience as the risk manager really is what led me to stand before you today. I feel that the school system is faced with a variety of risks every day. All of our talents are needed cumulatively to help the superintendent and the members of the board get through each and every day, because each and every day is a challenge. I have literally stood in the doorway waiting for a drunk, non-custodial parent with a gun that was coming to get their child from school. The deputy stood there with me. Unfortunately, they apprehended him a couple of blocks from the school, but this is just one of the myriad of challenges that faced us. We had a bus wreck one time where 34 kids were in a bus that actually overturned, and we had to get those children to the hospital to be checked out. These are just some of the things that occupy the life of a risk manager. Here's one of the things that occupies the life of a parent. My 3 children graduated here in Calcasieu Parish. I still have a midlife surprise. It's a junior at McNeese State University, so pray for me that I'll get through that challenge. When I see young people in school, particularly elementary school, I think they need help. I think they need protection. I think they need direction and guidance. I think that the challenges ahead of us here in Calcasieu Parish, which includes the SASOL development and the vendor companies coming in and the some $77 billion and the some 20,000 people, are going to be enormous. But I think it's an opportunity for all of us.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes.
Thank you, sir.
Four candidates vie for District 6. Our first speaker tonight is Mr. Ted Attebury.
Good evening. I'm Ted Attebury. I'm 58 years old. I've been married for 37 years. I have 2 daughters, one of whom was Calcasieu Parish Teacher of the Year for middle school last year. I have a grandson fixing to start in the Calcasieu Parish system. Why do I want to be the school board member for District 6? A lot of people ask me if I've lost my mind. Well, maybe I have. But the issues that are coming up before this board are some that we've never seen. We've got the busing, we've got charter schools, we've got vouchers. One of the things we've got coming up is the unprecedented growth and tax revenues that are going to be coming in. Your next board of directors, if you will, because this is the largest business in Calcasieu Parish. It's got the most people. The money has got to be spent and spent correctly. For the last 25 years, that's what I've been doing. I've been running a multi-million-dollar business. I know how to make those decisions. You make business plans. You create ways to make things happen. Strangely enough, you've got the same thing in one of our next big issues we've got coming up, and that's called Common Core. We've got to make plans. Now, people have said the way I describe it, you're for Common Core. Make no mistake, I'm not for Common Core. I'm for common sense. And that's the way we've got to approach it. We've got to have, the way you approach it in business is business plans. The way you approach it in education is curriculum. The curriculum we have right now is not working. We've got to change it. So, one last thought. Whatever your job, whatever you do today, it all started with education. Thank you.
Our next speaker from District 6, Mr. Gino Lubrano.
Good evening. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here tonight. We really do appreciate that. Basically, my background is I have three very important things that contribute to me running for school board. Number one, I have a 5th grader at St. John Elementary and Public Schools, and I have a daughter who's a freshman at Barb. My wife has been a teacher in the classroom for about 19 years. She's taught inclusion and regular ed. We've moved from Louisiana to Ohio and back and found this beautiful country of Lake Charles and love it here. And I'm a business leader. I work at Westlake Chemical. I'm an operations manager. I have an engineering degree from LSU. I have an MBA from Case Western Reserve University up in Ohio, specializing in finance. Some of the things that kind of, you wrap that up, I don't want to brag on myself. It's more about that I have taken advantage of education. I've been surrounded by wonderful teachers and educators my entire life. I believe as a Christian that all children deserve the same exposure, the same experience and opportunity in life. So I am just a positive man who's here, and what you see is what you get. No political interest. I've been exposed to many different school systems. I'm involved with the McNeese Industrial Advisory Board, trying to maintain the engineering department's accreditation. I don't get a lot. I don't get involved with a lot. I'm more involved with the church and with my kids. I have a vested interest in the school system, but because I have a vested interest in my wife as a teacher, a vested interest in my children who are students, and I believe that we need to look at everything with all the expansion coming in a very transparent manner. And I think I just have the credentials to take it to the next level. We need extraordinary leaders during this time of change to help our children. Help teachers, you help the children. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lubrano. Our final speaker for District 4 is Mr. Dean Roberts.
District 6.
Excuse me, that is District 6, isn't it? I
Thank
beg
y'all
your pardon.
Thank y'all for coming tonight. I want to thank the CIE and putting this on and giving us a chance to introduce ourselves. As he said, my name is Dean Roberts. I am a candidate for District 6. I'm married to Brooke Roberts, who's been a teacher in the Calcasieu Parish school system for 16 years. We have two wonderful children, Jessica, a 7th grader at S.J. Welsh, and Wade, a 5th grader at St. John Elementary. And we want to thank the teachers and the staff at those schools who do such a wonderful job with our kids. I'm a graduate of McNeese State University. I graduated in 1997. I immediately went to work for Stream Wetland Services. I'm a licensed contractor with the state of Louisiana, and I build wetlands for a living. I work with Fortune 500 companies, state and federal agencies, and nonprofits restoring our coast. And we're all aware of the 800-pound gorilla in the room tonight. That's the Common Core issue, and I'm sure we will be spending a lot of time talking about that. But that's not the only reason that I entered this race. I entered this race for a lot of the other issues that haven't been addressed for the last 10 to 15 years that I've been really paying attention. Issues like overcrowding, busing, disrespect in the classroom, teacher pay, and teacher retention. Folks, in the next 10 years, we have up to 50,000 people moving to our community. That concerns me as a community member, but I also see it as an opportunity to fix some of the issues that I just mentioned. We need leaders to do that. As a leader, I will take on the task to see that some of those things are done. To get this done, our school board leaders will need a skill set to serve effectively. Leadership that is engaged in the school system of today, not yesterday. A leader who will bring a sense of urgency to our school board to get things done. That's who I am, an engaged parent who is a proven leader ready to serve his community. And that's why I need your vote on November 4th. Thank you.
Our fourth candidate in District 6 texted me just before I left the house tonight and told us she was ill and would not be with us tonight. That would be Debbie Theriot. So I'm sorry to say she sends her regrets, but she will not be here. In District 7, we have two candidates who have qualified. The first is Mac Delaffosse.
Good evening, everyone. Now see how theater students feel with all these lights right in your face, so I commend those theater students for their being able to perform. First off, I know you have to hear about me, but please understand this is not about me. This is about our students, our kids, our system. There's no I in team. You know, when we look around, we're going to have a new board, and I can't make decisions alone. So it's going to take a cumulative effort for all of the individuals to come to an agreement on some things. My name is Mac Delaffosse. I'm sorry, I forgot to say that when I first started. My beautiful wife is sitting in the back, my biggest supporter, thank you. I have two kids that are in public school. I have one in high school and one in middle school. So that's the main reason I'm running. And anybody who knows me knows that I'm a doer, not a talker. So I'm not one to complain. I believe in being positive and trying to get things done. So when we think about the things that are about to happen in our parish, as you heard some of the other individuals, it's going to be massive, and we're going to need a lot of support. And with a new board, a new superintendent, there's some things that are going to take place. And one of the things right now that we're facing, we talk about teacher shortage. We have 111 non-certified teachers teaching core classes. That's unbelievable. And you're talking about teachers leaving daily going to the plants. You got Golden Nugget Casino. So we're going to have to figure out a way to retain our teachers. And one of the things that I think that's going to come up and that I'm going to push is that we're going to have to pass a tax to increase our salaries of our teachers. We're going to have to find a way to help keep our students in their zones. As I've said all along, parents don't want to send their kids out of zone. They would love to keep them there. So we have to be able to find a way to make sure that they're getting the best education that they can, and they'll stay in their community. So, thank you.
Our next candidate from District 7 is Mr. Randy L. Thibideaux.
Good evening. My name is Randy Thibideaux. And I ask myself this question, why I am running in this race. Because District 7, we have serious problems in District 7. We have 11,648 students, African American students, in Calcasieu Parish. District 7 and District 3 is leading all the districts in D's and F's. I'm just a common man, a working man. I have two sisters graduated from McNeese. I graduated from a culinary school. I'm just choking up right now, and I just ask for y'all forgiveness. A lot of people coming up here with certain solutions of how to fix this problem. The only way you're gonna fix this problem is through God. And I ran this race. I know the odds is so much against me. I know that when I came into this race, but my voice is gonna be heard because we have serious problems in the low community schools. They're closing our schools, destroying our community. Instead of building it up, they're closing them down. We got about 100,000 people supposed to be coming. Where they gonna go? They're closing down our schools, and that's a concern of mine. I also work for Global Marine, as a steward. Did a lot of bookkeeping work, managed people, been a leader, and that's what we're missing, leadership. Because this ridiculous of what's going on this school board, and it's time for a change.
Thank you, Mr. Thibideaux. District 8 has two gentlemen who have qualified. The first to speak will be Mr. Jim Schooler.
Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jim Schooler. I represent District 8, which is southeast Lake Charles. To put it in perspective, our district runs from Kmart on Sales Street to all the way to the Cameron Parish line. Is a big district. I've been on the school board for 4 years. I am presently the vice president and the budget chairman. I've been married for 41 years to Pat Roy, who is the principal of J.L. Watson Middle School and Elementary School. I have one daughter, Amber, one son-in-law, Andy Dressler, three grandsons, Jordan Dana, a sophomore at LSU, Noah and Dylan Dressler, who are in the second and fourth grade at St. John Elementary, and both of them are bad to the bone. I pride myself in this campaign in not taking any campaign contributions whatsoever. I finance my own campaign out of my pocket, period. So no special interest do I have to answer to. I also give all of my school board salary back to the schools in my district. I am very proud to represent District 8. There's a lot of great people in District 8 who have supported me and over the years. I also served on the police jury for 4 years. I was the president of the police jury in 1980. I served in the Army 1968 and 1969, not because I wanted to, but my draft number was number 22 and I didn't like it. And it wasn't fun jumping out of airplanes, believe me. I served in the Vietnam War and rose to the rank of platoon sergeant. I'm running for school board again because I want to continue to make the Calcasieu Parish school system the #1 school system in the state of Louisiana at every level. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Schooler. Our next candidate from District 8 is Mr. Eric Tarver.
Hi everybody, thanks for coming. I'm Eric Tarver from District 8. Just have 2 points because 2 minutes is not very long. First thing, a little bit personally about me and what I'm about and what I'm trying to do. I'm the first person here to admit that I'm not an educator. My lovely wife Katie is not an educator, she's a veterinarian. I'm not a politician, and I'm not a parent. We're not parents yet, so you're probably thinking, what the heck is this guy doing running for school board? Well, what I am is a proud American citizen. Proud to have been born and raised here in Calcasieu Parish, born, raised, educated, and employed here in Calcasieu Parish. And because of that, I care about the parish, and I care about the people, and I care about the students. And I care about our future, and in that future I see big, huge challenges that we've all talked about, and I hope we can talk about more coming up. But that's okay, because I also see in our democratic process that we do, the ability to get us through those challenges if the right people will stand up and participate in it. And for me, standing up and participating in it means giving everything I've got of my time and my effort and my money and my expertise to serve on a representative board like this so that you guys can educate yourself like you're doing right now, and then have somebody that you can be confident to go vote for and trust to make decisions on your behalf. And that's what I'm here to do. That's why I'm standing before you right now. And I know that it's not your job to vote for me because I asked you and then just say, Eric, do whatever the heck you want. I voted for you, so I'm okay with whatever you want. It's my job the other way around as an elected official to earn the trust and the respect and the confidence and the votes over the next 4 weeks, and I hope over the next 4 years, of the parents and teachers and students in District 6. And I think I can do that. I promise you, I know it's my job to do that. And I think I don't have much time, but I think the work experience that I have prepares me really well to do that. And let me impose for 15 seconds. This endeavor, more than anything I've ever done, has made me realize that we hear this phrase, we the people, we the people, we the people, right? Well, I am we the people. And that's why I'm standing up here. And you guys are all we the people too. We don't do what we have to do and stand up when we have to stand up and do the right thing, then who's going to do it? That's how I think.
There are 2 candidates qualified for District 9. Our first speaker will be Mr. Max Calderara.
Good evening. I'm Frank, Coach Max Calderara, running for District 9, the Westlake area. I'm married to Wanda, 44 years. We have 2 children, Kimberly Dixon, married to Don Dixon, Max II, married to Jada. 5 grandchildren, Dustin, Braden, Alicia, Olivia, and Max III. Why am I running? Because first of all, I'm retired from education. I can run now. And I do miss education, is why I'm running. My qualification is I've got 40 years in education. My immediate family has got over 200 years of education. From my wife, my brother, my sister, my sister-in-laws, my son, and my daughter-in-law, from master's degrees to doctoral degrees. We've got plenty of education. I've got plenty of resources to go back on for education. I've been around education all my life. Common Core, wow. This is the most controversial issue that I've ever seen in 40 years of my education. Common Core will go. It will pass like all the other things. And I guess you can see that I am against Common Core. If elected school board member, I will support the administration, the staffs. I will also make sure and hope that all the students of Westlake will continue getting the excellent education they're getting right now. Also, it's long overdue that our teachers get pay raises. Thank you.
Our second candidate from District 9 is Mr. Jason Elliott.
My name is Jason Elliott, and I'm running for District 9 School Board seat. I'm president of Civil Construction Company and Environmental Services, LLC. I'm married to Jackie Elliott. She's sitting right there with the camera. She's a kindergarten teacher at Westwood Elementary. I have 2 children that attend public school. Jessica, she's a junior at Westlake High School, and Jillian, she's a 7th grader at SB Arnett. With the limited amount of time we have here, I'd like to talk to you about the positive of Common Core. Common Core is what brought the most of us here tonight, that you've seen the big response that you get out of everything. For the longest time, I felt that parent apathy was one of the biggest problems with our school system. Parents just not paying attention to what's going on. Common Core has cured that.
Absolutely.
Common Core has brought us together, put teachers and parents on the same page for the first time in a long time, and got us going in the same direction. This is fantastic. Common Core should be fought and will continue to be fought until this untried, untested, and unproven program has been eliminated from our system. But let's not waste all of this energy and togetherness we see right now tonight with just fighting Common Core. We need to tackle the other issues with the same intensity. Let's get teacher pay corrected in Calcasieu Parish. without correcting this, as everybody else has said, we've got a lot of business coming. First people I would be grabbing was people that know how to teach, know how to learn. That's every teacher in this parish. Let's make sure every program that we're running currently in our system is a valuable program and is utilized efficiently. It seems like we're wasting a lot of our teachers' time filling out meaningless paperwork over and over and over again, that this data never gets used properly. And I know you heard District 7 and District 3 was very involved in this. Let's make sure every school in Calcasieu Parish, every student is getting the same high quality education. We need to work on increasing enrollment in our neighborhood schools and work on not shutting them down. Let's bring those back. So when Common Core has been eliminated, I ask that everybody stay involved and continue to work together and solve these issues affecting our Calcasieu public schools. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Elliott. District 10 has 3 qualifiers. Our first speaker for District 10 will be Becky Grove.
My name is Becky Grove and I'm from DeQuincy. I was born and raised in DeQuincy, been there all my life. I am the daughter of the late Harvey and Betty Lou Brown. I graduated from DeQuincy High School in 1976 and I graduated from McNeese in 1978. I have an associate's in electronic technology. I've been married to Johnny Grove for 35 years. We have 3 grown children and we have 7 grandchildren, 3 of whom are currently in the school system in DeQuincy. I am an employee of the United States Postal Service in DeQuincy. I've been with them for 29 years as a city carrier. The reason that I'm running for school board is because I have some concerns. My main concern is for the children. They should be of the utmost importance to everyone in the school system. Our children are our future, and it is our responsibility to give them the best education that we can possibly give them. And with that, my next concern is teachers. Our teachers in Calcasieu Parish, we have some of the best teachers around in Calcasieu Parish. But I feel like we need to give them every tool, every resource, the best computers, the most up-to-date facilities for them to be able to give our children the best education possible. I have a strong voice and I have a strong personality, and I will fight for our kids. Thank you.
Our next speaker from District 10 is Mr. Tony O'Banion.
My name's Tony O'Banion. I'm from Starks, Louisiana. I have 2 children, Eric and Courtney. Eric's a senior at Starks High. Courtney's a sophomore at McNeese. I'm self-employed, and there's going to be a lot of new industry coming to this area, and we've got a lot of tough decisions to make. And I think by being self-employed, that will help with some of those. But I think the main thing for any school board member is to represent the people. It's more your opinion than mine that matters. And I'm definitely not a politician, as you can probably tell. But I agree with Becky. Our children are the most important thing that we have, and we need to support our children, our teachers, and give them the tools they need to learn and to do their jobs. And like I said, I'm definitely not a politician, but I do tell everybody, even if you're not going to vote for me, you need to vote, because that's why a lot of the reason we're in the situation that we're in. Thank you.
Our final speaker from District 10, Mr. Alvin Smith.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. My ambition was, when I got 16 years old, I was going to quit school. but I knew I would not be alive after the 16th day. And when I decided to go to college, I had a scholarship, and my daddy gave me this information. He said, son, you can go to college, you can get you a BA, a MA, a PhD, but when you get through, make sure you got a JOB. I understood that. I went into education, stayed in education for 27 years. It has been a great, great contribution to me, and the time that I spent, I never regret it. I graduated from McNeese with a BA, went back, got my master's in supervision, administration, leadership, and then I went back and I received a +30. After retirement, I thought, well, education would be over and I would sit back and relax. But I decided it would be time to invest myself in further helping the education system of Calcasieu Parish. My wife is still in education. She is a counselor at Starks High School. Both of our daughters were graduates of McNeese. And my contribution to the system of the school is to make sure that there is enough things given that teachers can meet the obligation. And we understand and we know that there are things coming down the pike and there are issues that needs to be addressed. And we as stakeholders need to understand that the principle of all of this is not in administration, is not in the school board, but our students and our children is the #1 priority that we should have. And giving them the things that they need, the tools and the teachers. The first time I received my first paycheck, it was $890. And I called the school board and told them that they had made a mistake. And they said, no, sir, that's all that you make. When I finally had enough time to make enough money, it was time to retire. Thank you for this time. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Briefly, I want to remind you again that districts 11 and 12 are elected simply by the filing. So we're going to move now to District 13, which has 3 qualifiers. Our first speaker from District 13's candidacy is Ms. Joy Abshire. I'm sorry.
I'm glad to take the show.
I'm just taking them in the order of the program.
Good afternoon, I'm Joy Abshire, and if you know me, I always like to be first anyway. So, thank you for coming tonight. I am a Christian, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, and I'm a business owner. And I'm a candidate for School Board District 13 in Sulphur. Yes, I am a Golden Tar graduate and a McNeese State University graduate. American Dreams begins with education. Education is important. As I have gone around and knocked on doors and given my constituents my spiel as to why I want to be on the school board, I have been amazed at people that said, but I don't need to vote in that race. And I said, why not? And they said, well, I don't have a child in school. Education is for every one of us. And we need to vote, and we need to support our educators and our teachers. Right now, our parish, as it's been said by many people here tonight, we stand on the cusp of something great. Our 3rd graders today, if this construction phase goes from the 8 to 10 years, our 3rd graders will be going out to assume some of these jobs, and we want them to be ready. Whether they want a VOTEC or a college career, we want them to be ready. We want them to stay home and help us grow and sustain. It is important. I have the opportunity to serve on Sulphur Parks and Recreation Board. I'm also serving on the Sulphur Housing Authority Board. I believe in community, I believe in you, and I think you believe in every one of us here. That's why you're here tonight. And we thank you for coming, and I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to share a little bit with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Abshire. Our next speaker will be Mr. Billy Breaux.
short people in this end of the stadium. My name is Billy Breaux. I've been on the board for the past 11 years. It'll be 12 years at the end of this term. I'm a firm believer in providing our teachers and our students the tools that they need to be successful in the future. A lot of days, in our day and time, it's all about technology. If we don't provide them the tools that they're going to need to go to work at the plants, to get a job in the future, they were putting them behind the 8 ball to fail. One thing, the reason why I'm running is to continue the progress that we've had in Sulphur when I first got on the board. A lot of our schools didn't have hardly any technology in them. We were being set up to fail. We could see, I've got a few of our friends who are in technology department deal with the state. We could see where days were coming where if a teacher would go to an in-service to get a computer, those days were long gone. So we worked hard in our schools to be able to provide them the technology that they need. Our schools in Sulphur have more technology in them than most other areas in the state. One school in particular, Maplewood, has got more technology in it than any other school in the parish. I'm a firm believer in providing our teachers not only the tools that they need, but an environment they need. Not fancy environments like the one phase that we just got finished in Maplewood I'm very proud of, is we spent 3 years planning for that construction phase. We spent 5 years under construction. When it was all said and done, we saved $2 million on that project. Yes, $2 million on a government project. That paid to redo the gym, put new roofs on the middle school side, change out the air conditioning systems on the middle school, add additional bathrooms, and provide more technology into our schools. The other thing I'm proud of that we've had, that I've been able to do, I've been one of the chairman of the benefits committee for the past 11 years, which has been, we have done a lot on that to keep that plan affordable for our teachers. Yes, we have some issues with raises. Our superintendent is back, and we do have a plan and a process right now that we are working on with the state legislature to give our teachers a raise. We just got to get a few steps in place to be able to do that. We hopefully will have that knocked out soon. Well, I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Breaux. Our final speaker in District 13 is Mr. Jesse Fonteno.
Hello, Jesse Fonteno. Born and raised here in Calcasieu Parish. Beautiful wife of 10 years, Savannah. Met in high school. Got 2 kids, a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old. Right now, out of our 3 districts in 13, I'm the only one living the Common Core nightmare. I have a first grader that we spend hours doing homework with. I'm a firm believer that it needs to go. I also want to touch on, Calcasieu Parish is the 5th largest school district in the state. Our teachers are 39th out of the state. Oh, sorry. Our teachers are ranked 39th paid in the state. I'm a firm believer of teachers' raises, but we also got to consider the school bus drivers, the custodians, the support personnel, the counselors. Everybody needs to be taken care of. We just need to realize that with the amount of money that's going to be coming into this area, that we need to utilize every last penny. With that being said, on November 4th, I would wish that you would cast your vote for number 99. And I have push cards outside with my personal phone number and my email address. If you have any other questions for me, I keep everything open for anybody. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Jesse. Our final speakers tonight come from District 15. Our first speaker will be Mr. John Duhon.
Thank you, CAE and Monica Abshire for hosting this. I'm John Duhon. I'm married to Deanna Duhon. We have 4 kids, 2 of them in education. 2 of the smart ones are an architect and a physical therapist. They didn't get into education. The gentleman mentioned his first salary at $800. Mine was $300. I won't tell you how old I am, but I was a very active member of CEA before you guys were born. So I've been at it a long time. I've been in education for 42 years. I retired as a principal of Moss Bluff Middle School. I was there the last 16 years. I was principal of the school. I've coached, I've taught, I've been an assistant principal and principal. And just a little bragging, while I was at Moss Bluff Middle, 14 out of the 16 years we scored the highest score in the parish. One of the years we were the 5th highest in the state. I think I know a little bit about how to educate kids. And that's why I'm running. With the wealth of knowledge I've had with the committees I've served on and the conferences I've been to and other things I've done in education, and I served 32 years on the Parish Planning and Zoning Board. I think I know something about education and have something to contribute. The reason I'm running, I think there are two things we need to do in Calcasieu Parish. One, we need to operate a little more efficiently. We can do that. And one is we need some long-term planning. Like the other gentlemen have said, we got a heck of an increase in our population coming in industry, and we got a lot of kids coming this way that need to have a classroom. We're going to have to do something. We're going to have to plan long in advance to do that. And I'm looking forward to planning with the people that are elected here, because I want to be a parish-wide school board member, and of course a Moss Bluff school board member. But I firmly believe a rising tide raises all boats. And I've said enough. I know y'all glad to see us at the end here.
Thank you, Mr. Duhon. Our final introductory speaker tonight will be Miss Tammie Pettis.
I think I'd be remiss if I did not first explain why I chose to do this, but there's some other things I want to get to since we only have 2 minutes. Ever since I was a child, I was told that I had a servant's heart. And when an opportunity presented itself to serve, and to serve in a big way, I figured I'd be crazy not to jump on it. I didn't want to be 80 years old wondering what would have happened had I gotten into that school board race in 2014. Well, now I know. My pastor always says that the best ideas are in the graveyard, so mine will not be there. The idea to do this will not be there. But because I feel it's important for the audience to be aware of certain things before candidates begin to answer questions, I don't want to stand here and rattle off my information, personal credentials that you can get off my push card, or you can find out after talking to me after the forum is over. What I want people to understand is that Louisiana Revised Statute 17:81 outlines the duties of school boards and parish superintendents. And I have a copy of that 8-page document with me here tonight if anybody would like to see it, okay? Try as I might, I found nothing in there that says that a school board or its members can get rid of Common Core. And I know that our wonderful, hardworking representative, Brett Guyman, if we could have, he'd have made sure 3 years ago Common Core went, okay? Bessie is the only entity right now that can get rid of Common Core. We are not running for Bessie, we are running for your local school board. Your local school board is responsible for developing the curriculum, training the teachers, and adopting the resources that your children will use in the classroom. And right now, they screwed up royally. Sorry guys, there's some people on this school board that are friends of mine, and I wasn't afraid to tell them they screwed up royally when they chose Eureka Math. Sorry about that. And I will not be afraid, once elected, to tell the people on the school board what my constituents want and to fight for what my constituents in Moss Bluff want. I will not be scared, as they say, okay? As you can tell, I'm pretty bold. I'm ready to do this. I left the classroom to do this, and I will do the very best job that I can and represent Moss Bluff exceptionally well.
Thank you, Ms. Pettis. At this time, we're going to alter our format ever so slightly, and we're going to put the candidates on a different kind of spot. We're going to call upon our two celebrities here this evening, Erica Bivens and Lee Peck. Sorry, Lee, I had to introduce Erica first because she's better looking, no offense. And we're going to let them ask questions of the candidates in each district. Of the candidates by district. So, take it away.
Actually, ladies first, and you cover school board, so we'll let you ask the first question.
All right, question 1 says, what is your stance on Common Core and removing Eureka Math and core knowledge from the Calcasieu Parish School Board curriculum?
And that goes to District 6.
No, 1.
District 1, I'm sorry, District 1.
My position is that I am opposed to Common Core for a few different reasons. I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of reading, and what I can do is, as your school board member, I can try to reach out to the rest of the board to try to build some unity, and collectively, possibly we could go up, visit with Bessie, visit with the state legislatures, voice our concerns, and see if we can make an impact that way. There's always strength in numbers, and so if you have a unified board with a strong voice, I think possibly we could get some positive results. On the local level, I wouldn't be opposed to going from Tier 1 to Tier 3. I think that would alleviate a lot of the frustrations and concerns and would get rid of Eureka Math. That's my position.
On Common Core, it's got to go. That's the number one thing. As far as the Eureka Math situation, I've seen where St. Tammie Parish has gone ahead and they've opted to slowly phase it out and get their own curriculum going. I think that's a great idea. I think that as soon as possible that should be put on the school board's agenda to address that and possibly do the same thing. I'm sure if we can collaborate with them, then we can get some good advice from them and go from there. As far as Common Core total, I think that since we have just joined a group of other school boards to collaborate and get buying power, I don't see why we couldn't address the whole group and see if we could get a few of them to collaborate with us to try and get rid of the whole thing. Like you said, there is power in numbers, but if we're going to be using other groups for buying power, why can't we use it for voting power too?
All right, question number 2 for District 2. Will you show up to Bessie meetings and represent Calcasieu Parish?
I've got to tell you beforehand, I'm very proud that I've already done so. Earlier when Representative Guyman introduced the bill in the state legislature, I was down there. And I thought his bill was completely out of line, and I said so, and I still feel so. So how do I feel about Common Core? Early today, I passed out a little history. I wish I could have had enough copies for everyone, which will give some of you all an idea of what Common Core is about. Now, I've made a special effort to read it. I started out with, when the state put out their strategies for teachers, I read it. And here's what I found that you need to know. I found that there were 2 prongs here. Number 1, it was a good teaching device. It made teachers better teachers because they are exposed to a new teaching technique. In math is still going to remain the same, but these teaching techniques are doing different things. Secondly, I found out that students who had this open-minded approach did better in math. My research didn't just start with Louisiana. I got on the internet, and I think it's Connect New York. They have a bunch of videos showing the entire strategy. And what most people got to realize, teaching is not what you used to see. When I was in the classroom, because we had only chalkboards and pencils and ditto paper, all the little children had to line up in a line, and we expected them to sit there and absorb everything we say. Teaching has changed from that.
I'm sorry, that's all the time we have. You have 1 minute. I'm sorry, we want to remind everybody you have 1 minute to answer the question. Thank you so much.
Yes, I do intend to attend the Bessie meetings. I believe that how will they understand what our needs are and what our concerns are about for example, of Common Core. That's the main issue, the content and curriculum, unless they hear from us. And boy, will they hear from me. I'm going to be in their ear, I'm going to be in their backyard, I'm going to be on the telephone with them, and they're going to have an understanding of our needs in Calcasieu Parish.
Okay, this question is for District 3. What are your thoughts on charter schools, and do you think it takes away local control from our public school system? Again, District 3.
Really wish I'd had the last questions. I know they're tired of seeing me at Bessie. I'm not even on the board and I'm down there all the time. My belief on charter schools is that they serve a purpose for disenchanted parents. Parents who feel hopeless about the education that their students are receiving in a particular district have to have hope. Many of these parents are not able to afford private schools, so they rely on the community schools. I do believe that a lot of the funding that's being generated at the charter schools is actually taken away from the public schools. And I realize that every person up here seeking a board position has different issues in their particular district. Some of us have the same, a lot of the issues are the same, but I'm running for the school board to represent District 3, the district that's constantly getting the D and the F on the report card.
That's time, thank you.
My position on charter schools is that I feel as though parents have the right and the obligation to seek the best education for their children. Just as I chose Catholic school for 3 of mine, and then my 4th one chose public school, it gave us a variety to be able to speak from. I do understand that the money that goes to the charter schools is coming from the public school system as far as that's concerned, and I also know what my constituents say, that if at a particular time the student is not performing the way they should, that the student is sent back to their home school or their community school, but the money stays with the charter school. So I've got to go with what my constituents are saying or what they're asking for to be able to tell you it is not right for the money to stay if the student is not there. So as far as my feelings are concerned, I think everyone has the right to go to whatever school they see best for their children. And in District 3, yes, we do have a lot of students that have left that district.
That's time, thank you.
Great assistant. Okay.
All right, we're on a new district. New question. Yes, okay. District 4. A few years ago, this is your question. A few years ago, District 5, I'm sorry, District 4 is unopposed. A few years ago, the immersion program was on the block to be cut. Do you support the immersion program in Calcasieu Parish schools? Yes, sir. A few years ago, the immersion program was on the block to be cut. Do you support the immersion program here in Calcasieu Parish?
Yes, I do. Calcasieu Parish School Board is the largest business in Calcasieu. That's why we selected a businessman to operate our system. For example, the hospital doesn't hire a doctor to run the hospital. They hire an administrator, and he hires the doctors. Just for example, give you an idea how big Calcasieu Parish School Board is. We have something like 4,885 employees. We've got 2,600 teachers. We have 32,000 students. We have $355 million budget. We have 34 elementary schools, 12 middle schools, and 11 high schools. And we have one of the best districts in the state of Louisiana. The only problem is that we receive our orders from Bessie, and that is a state law. Our administrators are busy now tweaking that law to do the best they can.
That's time. Thank you. That works.
Okay, I'm very much in favor of the immersion program. My daughter was a French and English major in college, and she taught French. In fact, she lived overseas for a while. Her husband also is a Spanish and French teacher. I have seen it up close. I have seen the confidence that these young people come out with when they're in the immersion program as they advance through the years. I think it's a wonderful tool for developing minds that want to go in that direction. So I'm very much in favor of the immersion program. Thank you.
Moving on to District 6. Question is, what plans do you envision for the overcrowding of schools, and how will we pay for them?
First thing we'll do is hire somebody to raise the standard over here. Overcrowding of schools. With the new industries that we've got coming in, we're going to be flush with money. But if it's not spent wisely, we're in trouble. Before we do anything else with any of the money, we've got to get our reserves back where they need to be. But as far as schools, we better be planning right now to build schools in East Lake Charles. We need more schools in South Lake Charles. Depending on where these potential 30,000 people live, we are out of space. Pods are great, but we need new schools. But with schools, you got to have teachers. And how are you going to fund them? Unfortunately, I'm afraid the tax revenues may not be enough. We may have to look at bond issues. It may need to be a parish-wide bond issue, because we're not 15 districts. We are one parish, okay? We are all together. We got to quit fighting amongst ourselves and come together as one school board. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. You kind of saw my softer side a little earlier, but I do have a passionate side, and I do have an aggressive side that stands up for the rights of every kid. I think with my background, I'm very interested in setting a vision for the parish. It's going to be said multiple times. We need financial accountability. We need to provide all children opportunity for education. Some of the issues, as I've gone in my district and worked with schools like S.J. Welch, with Barb, administrators, teachers, you get one side of the story and then you get the other side of the story. Schools are getting overcrowded, but they don't necessarily feel that way because of the money they're getting. The opportunities that these kids are receiving in some of those schools are phenomenal. Not everybody can play on the football team, but you know what? There's Mu Alpha Theta, there's National Honor Society, there's a huge band, one of the biggest in the state. So as we get more financial stability within the parish, remember, a lot of these companies are going to get exemptions on tax for many years. It's the support. We can forecast property, but we can't forecast sales, but we need to do the best we can and try to support as much expansion as possible.
Thank you.
I think one place we need to start is
is looking at returning the children that we've heard about tonight back to their neighborhood schools. But we don't just send them back. We send them back to something that is better there for them now. So that's where we start, by opening up seats in the schools that we have in South Lake Charles today. In order us to build more schools, to make room for the expansion, we need to look at our bonding districts. You know, we are so chopped up as a one school system that maybe we need to look at Ward 3 and look at unifying our bonding districts to maybe get the votes to pass some bonds to address the issues in South Lake Charles about building new schools. I think we need to throw everything on the table. We're going to have the sales tax revenues. We need to be creative with our financing. I expect a lot of our superintendents sitting in the back there to save us money to build these schools. So those are the things I think we need to address. We need to look at sending the kids back to those schools, use the schools we have, make them better, but also build new schools in South Lake Charles and invest in the technology, but also the teachers. We can build all the schools we want.
That's
time. We don't have the teachers to sit and teach. We have nothing. Thank you.
And this question is for District 7. Why are the students not being taught how to write? Question mark. Penmanship. Why aren't they being taught how to write? District 7.
That's a good one. That's a very good one. I'm like my man right here. I'm not a politician. I'm just a regular working man. But I do know this much, that we have children in high school can't even read on the 4th grade level, and they're in the 10th and in 11th grade. So far as writing, I'm quite sure they don't even know how to write if you can't read. As the same thing with math. You have children in the 10th, 11th, can't even add and subtract. And I asked them, I said, how you got so far through the system like that? That's a serious problem we have in District 7 and District 3. So that's my answer.
Thank you.
I didn't know that they weren't teaching penmanship. My son attends SJ, and I can tell you that he comes home and they're always having writing assignments in terms of setting up paragraphs the way they're supposed to be set up. And part of it is we reinforce reading and English literature at home. Now, I'm pretty sure Ms. Pettis, who's an English major, can probably tell us a lot about that in terms of what's going on in the schools. As a school board member, I can't say that I'm in class enough with the students to know that they're not teaching penmanship. So my thought is that they are teaching penmanship. If I'm judging based on my kids, what I see them bring home. Now, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of cases where we're emphasizing a lot of reading now. I mean, the superintendent have put a lot of resources in reading. So once kids are able to read a lot better, that's going to translate into better English and penmanship skills. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this question is for District 8. Question reads, how does a teacher handle a student who does not wish to learn and wishes to misbehave?
So don't start my time yet. How should a teacher handle a student that doesn't want to learn and wants to misbehave? Okay. Well, hang on, this is not a cop-out, but I first like to take 15 seconds of my very limited time to apologize to Dean and Gino and Ted, because apparently I goofed and said I was running in District 6 earlier when I was talking. I've reconsidered that. There's not enough room in District 6, so I'm going to stay in District 8. Okay, so to answer that question, I would say, I mean, obviously as a school board member, we're not going to be disciplining children in classrooms. But what I would say is that I absolutely have confidence in our teachers, that every teacher that I've talked to, when I leave talking to a teacher, I say, this person knows what they're doing, and we just need to let them teach. And so I would say I would have complete confidence in the teacher's ability to discipline a child and judge based on her knowledge of that child what the best way is to get that child to learn. As long as they have their control, as long as they can control what they're doing in their classrooms, and as long as the principals are controlling what's going on in the schools, I think what we need to do is leave it to the principals and the teachers to administrate and to teach. That's it.
We are addressing discipline in the classroom now and the discipline in school. Principals and teachers have to go through a lot of disciplinary problems every day in every school. We have now opened up Renault as a discipline school for 5 through 8 and 8 through 12. And that school is strictly for discipline, and we just don't slap them on the hand anymore. When they go there, they go to learn. As before, they were had vision TV that they would go home and look at for about 10 minutes, and then about 5 minutes later, it was out at your house robbing it. And our superintendent has stopped that now, and we are buckling down on discipline in all the schools. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this next question is for District 9. The most recent counselor survey indicates that school counselors spend less than 30% of their time counseling with students. How will you as school board members support the counselors of Calcasieu Parish School Board as they continue to try to meet all criteria of the Louisiana Comprehensive Counseling Model, which does not have administrative paperwork duties as a criteria?
Coach wanted me to go first on this one. I've always said that you've seen that in the last 10 to 15 years that a counselor is no longer a counselor. A counselor has become an additional right hand to the principal, handling the paperwork, handling tests set up, handling everything like that. Some of these behavior problems may go away if we can take some of that burden back off of the counselor and have the counselor perform a counseling position as they were originally done. I can't say that I can speak to every one of those terms that you just talked about, Lee, but that's my biggest thing, is that we need to get counselors back to counseling them. Thank you.
Thank you.
You stole my answer. So many times the counselors have to do scheduling, do other things, schoolwork that they don't need to be doing. They need to go back to the old counseling duties that they used to have to do, and helping students, bringing students in with personal problems and other problems that have been going on with them. They are overloaded with too much stuff in the school system that needs to be done by the principals and other people.
Thank you.
So we're jumping to District 13 now. I'm sorry, District 10. All right, the question reads, do you feel the curriculum and instruction people hold more power than your seat as a school board representative, as this is what the public sees? How would you address that concern? District 10. Do you feel the curriculum and instruction people hold more power than your seat as a school board representative, as this is what the public sees? How would you address that concern?
My answer would be that old school, a long time ago, the school board member had a lot more power in their school district or at the school where they were. Now, the duties of a school board member have changed, and we which I don't know for a fact because I'm not a school board member, obviously, but they showed us the different things that we do. It's mostly finance, construction, overseeing the construction, and holding the others accountable to do what their job is, what they're supposed to do. Now, with the curriculum, I think we should have that power, not so much like who the principal is and the coach is and those kind of things, but the important things is the curriculum and what the students are learning at these schools. I think we should have more power where that comes in. Thank you.
Thank you.
I agree with that assessment that the school board member really doesn't have any power over it. I mean, that may not be a popular answer, but that is, those decisions were taken away from school board members. And really the only thing on that area a school board member can do is talk to the superintendent, because the school board hires and fires the superintendent. But that's just the way it is. School board members don't have control over that.
Thank you.
When curriculum design is put into force, the only ones that really have an understanding of what needs to be done is those that's in that particular curriculum. It would be hard to establish a curriculum if I didn't know anything about it. And oftentimes this is transferred over to the school board, and if you've never been in a classroom or you have never been in a curriculum design, it would be hard for a member to be able to come up unless they had other resources to rely on. So the curriculum itself, as far as I'm concerned, should be designed by those that are in that area, whether it's history or English or math or whatever area it is. That way you would get an overall view of what needs to be taught and what students are being taught and how they are accomplishing the information that's being presented to them.
Thank you. And this next question, we are moving to District 13. And the question is, as population grows in Calcasieu Parish, at what point do you think the discussion should start about building new schools, and where should those schools be built?
Each area has its own bonding district. We have been in our area for the past, ever since I've been on the board, very cognizant of the fact what our tax levels are, what our millage is, and we planned out for the future to do that. We just got finished, we looked out 5 years ahead, we just got finished building a new school in Carlos to address the growth that with the expansion coming out, moving south of town. We also came in and we have additional classrooms at one of the schools at Maplewood. We tore down 7 classrooms and came back with a 27 classroom, 2-story building, state of the art, to address future growth of the expansion that's going in on the other side of Prater Road. We also have enough room in there to address everything that's coming out on the north side of Sulphur. We've looked at over the past 11 years to plan for that growth, that it's not something that we take lightly. We try to be very strong stewards of your tax dollars and plan ahead for that. When you can plan ahead and stay proactive on that, you're not being reactive. Anytime that you're reactive, it's going to cost you more money in the long run. So I'm a firm believer in trying to look ahead 5 to 10 years and plan for that, budget for that, so you can come up with something beneficial for your students and your teachers and not get behind the 8 ball. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that we need to take a proactive approach in studying the future development of our entire Calcasieu Parish. I also think that working with city planners and making sure that we are developing these schools in areas where they are also projecting the growth to be would be a wise move on a school board to gain all the knowledge that we can. We have many of our different districts that are more familiar with what are their needs in their areas, And also in creating these new schools, we need to be creating innovative schools to approach like the immersion programs and possibly even specialize where we can also adapt to offering children career choices, vo-tech or college.
Thank you.
It's a tough one to follow, being he's been with the board for 11 years, but I agree with Billy. It's been said. You know, you got to plan ahead when you're dealing with this situation, and you have to take into account that the future growth is going to render the outcome of what your kids are going to be dealing with. You know, when you start dealing with overpopulation. I was one in Moss Bluff. We stayed in trailer parks behind the school. You know, that was our school. So build up, build out, do the best we can with what money we have.
All right, final question for District 15. With homework extending more and more into the home, how do you encourage parent involvement? With homework extending more and more into the home, how do you encourage parent involvement?
You mentioned parent involvement. I always used to say, you know, they used to always say to us principals, you need to get your parents involved. All you had to do is do something wrong, you got the parents involved. And that's why parents involved now. We did something wrong, Common Core, parents involved. But on the homework issue, homework across the nation is being done less and less by students, and I don't know why. I can't tell you what that trend is. Many schools across the nation don't even require homework anymore. Because, and you can ask these teachers, when you give a homework assignment, less than 50% of the kids are going to come back with it today. And you can try all kinds of tricks in the book, it just won't happen. I'm not real sure how you get parents involved. I know in our orientations, I used to tell parents how important it was, and I'll give you one little scenario. I used to tell parents, there's nothing more you can do to improve your child's education than get them to read. How many of you buy a newspaper? How many of you buy a magazine? How many of you read a book at home? And then they didn't do any of these. That's, well, how do you expect your child to read? So it's very difficult to do that. And of course, we can always try to do it, but it's
all right. Thank you. We don't mind.
I believe the question specifically was about encouraging parent involvement with the homework issues right now. Honestly, we don't need to encourage parent involvement. Parents are involved right now whether they want to be or not, especially with Eureka Math. I've spoken to some teachers who agree that homework should not be going home right now. Others have said, no, it needs to be going home because they're hiding things, and I don't think that's the case. The reason that I say it should not be going home right now is because we, as teachers, are being paid to teach. When I was in the classroom, I rarely sent homework home. I wanted to be the resource for my students in the classroom. Some of my parents had not seen some of this stuff for 20 years. Why would I send it home and then force a parent who's already tired to help that child with that homework? I wanted to be that resource. And right now, with the transition being as difficult as it is, now is not the time to send homework home that, unfortunately, the teachers weren't even trained to do in terms of the math. So why would you send that home to a parent if you, as a teacher, are still having trouble with it? It makes absolutely no sense.
Thank you.
We want to encourage you before you leave tonight to speak a word of encouragement or word of thanks, or perhaps ask a question of the person who's running in your district. So we're going to break now for good, and we're going to let you congregate out on the porch and talk to them. Before we do, I want to recognize two people who are here tonight. One who's rotating off the school board, chose not to run again, Mr. Randy Burley. I saw him as he came in. Randy, where are you? Thank you for your service, sir. We appreciate you. And where did Mr. Elray Victorian go to sit? Where did he go? There he is back there. Thank you for your service, Mr. Victorian. I also want to thank our sponsors, KPLC TV, the Calcasieu Parish Real News, Poche Advanced Systems, Lagniappe Magazine, Mr. Joey Alcide Marshall for our security, and AdSource Outdoor Advertising for our billboards. Candidates, thank you for your time and your efforts. CAE members who worked here this evening, thank you. Be careful driving home, but don't be in a hurry. Hang around and talk to your candidates. Good night.